Today's going to be a long one. So today I want to go over the Trump administration accomplishments. And this video will be mainly focused on positivity? Yeah, we'll call it that. We'll call it that. Anyhow. So let's review. Like I said, it's going to be a long one. So, go to whitehouse.gov. Trump administration accomplishments. This is out there for anyone who wants it, right? So, 4 million jobs created since the election. I agree, there has been a huge increase in the gig economy. More Americans now employed than ever. That kind of ties back to the first point. We've created 400,000 manufacturing jobs. Again, still ties back to the first point. Economy hit growth, quarter hit 4.2%. Wall Street is not Main Street. I've already went over this. New unemployment claims recently hit a 49-year low. Now, this is as of September 2018. Obviously, this has not been updated for the pandemic because that fact is right out, right? The unemployment is right out. Median household income is at the highest level ever recorded. Because we have more billionaires. So on the laws of averages, if you have more billionaires and more poor people, then your average changes. That's just math. African American unemployment has recently achieved the lowest rate ever recorded. I would need to see a reference for that, which I'm sure that they will do the right thing and will have references for that at the bottom of this. So they are government agencies, so they should be held accountable, and I expect to see references.
It was at this point Adam realized he was wrong.
Hispanic American unemployment lowest rate. Again, I gotta see statistics for that. Asian American, which really, you could just save 3 lines and just say minority unemployment, and we can kind of, work off of that. Or women in minority. Look at that. In the lowest rate ever in 65 years. Yeah, because we need more people in the workforce in order to make ends meet because we're poor. So I agree. We probably have seen an increase in women unemployment rate because they're no longer staying home with their kids, or they can't afford to stay home with their kids. So yeah, absolutely. That's accomplishment. Youth unemployment has recently hit the lowest rate in nearly half a century. Again, see previous statement where kids have to get jobs because their family is poor. I'm all for kids getting a job early. Like, I got a job early. I got so much out of that job as far as personal development and growth is concerned. It gives you a sense of responsibility and makes you part of the team. So yeah, no, like youth employment is good, asterisk to an extent. It should be voluntary, not required, right? If you want your house to be in a good place. Lowest unemployment rate ever recorded for Americans without a high school diploma. Lowest unemployment rate ever recorded. Okay, so people that didn't finish high school or have their GED are being hired by factories or other low-paying jobs. Usually, you need a diploma or a GED in order to make a decent amount of money. And I'm going to mute my phone because I apologize for that. So mute. Alright, so we'll get back to the video. Under my administration, the veterans' unemployment reached its lowest rate in 20 years. Again, we could just tie this back into a low unemployment rate, which is a good thing. I'm not arguing a low unemployment is good. It's not a good thing, because you want most of your people in the workforce. That's good. That means they're contributing and moving society forward. But if they're just make enough to make ends meet, then yeah. So that's not good. Almost 39 million Americans have been lifted off of food stamps since the election. That happens if you cut the requirements for food stamps. So again, I expect at the bottom, like most academic papers and most things, to see references. And independent verification of these points. The pledge to American workers has resulted in employers committing to train more than 4 million Americans. We are committed to vocational education. Now, this is a good thing. I will say that we do need more skilled trade jobs. I agree. And the fact is we have always needed more skilled trade jobs. It's just there was this huge push to college because it's way easier to sell someone a cushy office job than it is to sell someone a hot, sweaty job in a pit where there's water, welding a pipe together because it burst. And, that's just your job. You always need the trashmen. You always need people to run your electricity. You always need people to run your plumbing. Like, that's what makes modern, society and civilized society work. So, yes, we do need more vocational, and skilled trades do make good money because they're in demand, because, again, we've sent so many kids through college to get a degree that we've created a vacancy in that vocational education. So, yes, this is a good thing, and this is probably true. 95% of U.S. manufacturers are optimistic about the future, the highest ever. If there's 5 manufacturers and 4 of them say it's okay, then yeah, 95% are optimistic. Retail sales surged last month, up 6% over the last year, which, yeah, probably. People still need to buy things. I really wouldn't. And this is the thing that kills me. Surged in 6%. Surged is not 6%. They do this in the stock market too. 10%. It surged. No. 25%, 26%, 30%. That's a surge. 6%? Not a surge. That's normal growth. That's fine. That's not a surge. Calm down. And again, we'll have all this stuff referenced at the bottom. Signed the biggest package of tax cuts and reforms in history. Yes, they did. After tax cuts, over $30 billion poured back into the U.S. after the first quarter alone. You're right. The billionaires got more money. It went right back into the U.S. billionaires' pockets. Yeah. Needless to say, see, this is wording is great because it says back into the U.S. Not the average blue collar worker. Not the your average Joe. The U.S. Very important distinction. As a result of our tax bill, small businesses will have the lowest top marginal tax rate in 80 years. Small businesses do not benefit from that tax bill. How do I know? I'm a small business. We did not benefit at all. In fact, we had to pay more money in the year 2018. Now, last year when we did our taxes, we ended up coming out better because, of one reason or another. We just happened to have another child, so that really helped us on our taxes. Helped win the U.S. bid for the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Olympics are a curse. This is not a good thing. This is a bad thing. We spend a lot, any country that hosts the Olympics is worse off afterward. Seriously, go look it up. It's fantastic. Helped the U.S., Mexico, Canada, United bid for a 2026 World Cup. That's soccer, I think. Yeah, World Cup soccer. World Cup is soccer, right? Yeah, okay. We'll just assume it is. How many people care in the U.S.? Not many. Opened ANWR and approved the Keystone XL and Dakota Access Pipeline. Holy crap. Really? That's an accomplishment. You think that's an accomplishment? The Dakota Access Pipeline, if you're not aware, currently runs underneath a water reserve for an Indian tribe. Now, I'm fuzzy on the details. I'm sure someone can fact check me later. Perfectly fine. Go ahead. But if that pipe leaks, and oil pipes have a tendency to leak, then their water supply is poisoned. And it's their only water supply because you're out in Dakota. Right? So, let's stop and think why maybe the people there didn't want this megacorp to run an oil pipeline under their own water source. Adam from the future here. Guess what? That pipeline leaked. 380,000 gallons in North Dakota. Sounds like those figures are pretty founded. Yeah? Yeah? How would you like it if I went into your yard and found your well and I just took a dump in it? Would you appreciate that? No? Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think they appreciate it either. That kills me that this is under the accomplishments. Record number of regulations eliminated. That's an accomplishment? Why were the regulations there in the first place? What were they protecting? I'm sure we'll get a list. Enacted highly regulatory relief for community banks and credit unions. Okay, I'm rather neutral on this point. The Obamacare individual mandate penalty gone. And yes, I also agree that is good. There shouldn't be a mandate penalty. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. It only works so the whole point of it was everyone has to participate in order for it to be effective. And if not everyone participated, then the idea is you would have so many markets flooded with people that they would compete. And then that would force prices to go lower. The problem is greed got in the way, as greed often does. And the insurance companies went, oh, wait, everyone needs us regardless? Hey, how much you charging for that? Okay, you're charging that much? All right, I'll charge $1 less or $1 more. Or tell you what, hey, you're going to compete in that market? All right, I'll compete in this market. That way we don't ever need to compete and we can charge whatever we want. Sound good? Yeah, that sounds great. Yep, yep, absolutely. So yeah, the problem is insurance companies found a way around everyone needing it, which is why we really need universal healthcare, because if everyone is on it, no one uses insurance companies, then, hey, insurance companies, you know what, I would like to hear, if you have a story, the last time an insurance company paid out properly on a claim that wasn't medical. And if it was, I would love to hear your insurance stories. Because in my experience, doesn't matter what insurance you have, it almost never wants to pay out because as a business, they don't want to pay out. They want to take premiums and don't pay out. Yeah, so I would like to hear if your insurance companies have paid out. Like, I would like to hear those stories. My administration is providing more affordable healthcare options for the Americans through the Association of Health Plans and Short-Term Duration Plans. I don't know about that. And like I said, I'm sure we'll have resource links. You poor fool. You haven't gotten there yet. The bottom to be able to fact check this. Last month, the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, approved more affordable generic drugs than ever before in history. This is thanks to our efforts admitting drug companies for freezing or reversing planned price increases. Generic drugs have nothing to do with the price of a particular drug. Generics is usually when a patent expires, and then a drug company that can then go and make that drug under the same formula under a different name, hence generic. It has nothing to do with the price freezing, which basically is just like, hey, we don't want you to make your drugs cheaper, but instead, just don't charge us more, please. Please, my voters really need it. Please. Short term. It's not going to be. We reformed the Medicare program to stop hospitals from overcharging low-income seniors on their drugs, saving seniors hundreds of millions of dollars. If you're a senior, you should have insurance. If you don't have insurance, maybe you need to go through the marketplace. Oh, you can't afford the marketplace? Well, I wish there was some type of universal healthcare that could take care of you. Yeah? Yeah? Sound good? Sound good? Yeah? Millions of dollars this year alone, right? Reformed the Medicare program to stop hospitals from overcharging. Making hospitals the bad guys. You know why hospitals charge a lot of money for their operations? Because they have to have, like, 3 administrative staff just to argue with the frickin' insurance companies to be able to get the money for the claim that they're putting in. Because, again, the insurance companies don't want to pay out. They're a business, right? They're there to make money. They're not there to take care of you. They're there to make money. And if you think otherwise, you are dumb, right? Like, duh, man, duh. Why? I don't understand why people don't get that concept. Signed right to try legislation. I have no idea what this is. I actually want to Google this real quick. So let's Google this real quick. Right to try. Okay. So basically the right to have access to experimental drugs. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think most people would. Other than, like, if a patient says, yeah, go ahead and give it to me. I don't care if it kills me. As long as you sign off on the paperwork and says, hey, it can kill you. That's fine. Like, I'm okay with that. Secured $6 billion in new funding to fight the opioid epidemic. Boy, if they would know about the pandemic. We have reduced high-dosage opioid prescriptions, blah, 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 which is mainly done at the state level, really not federally. Signed a VA Choice Act with VA Accountability Act, expanded VA healthcare services, walk-in clinics, same-day urgent primary to mental health care. And yes, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. With VA insurance, a lot of other, places could not take it. Because only VA hospitals would be able to approve to do certain things. And I believe that should be expanded out, that, veterans do get the healthcare when they need it at their convenience without having to drive 90 miles to the nearest VA hospital just because that happens to be the closest one. Other healthcare providers should be able to take the VA healthcare card, that's it, man. Like, just, no, yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? I like that. Increased coal exports by 60%. U.S. oil production recently reached an all-time high. Green energy, if it was subsidized the same way, would actually be better than coal and oil, but that's okay. That is a discussion for another time. I wouldn't call that an accomplishment. I would read this as killing our planet faster. It's an accomplishment, I guess. United States is a net neutral gas exporter for the first time since 1945. Probably because we're tapping reserves. Withdrew the United States from the job-killing Paris Climate Accord. I don't know how not agreeing. I don't understand how that kills jobs. Because you're just basically saying, I won't emit a ton of carbon. That's probably what it is we needed to fire up more coal and oil plants because then we would produce a larger carbon footprint, and then that would be the reason why we wouldn't want the Paris Accord, because that would limit us, because then we couldn't do the things that are destroying our planet at a faster rate. So yeah, good job. Canceled the illegal anti-coal and so-called clean power plan. Scored a record $700 billion in military funding, with $716 billion next year. NATO allies are spending $70 billion more on defense since 2016. Yeah, probably. When you idolize strongmen from North Korea and China and want to be just like them and literally snub our allies that we've had for years, I can understand why they're beefing up their military. Maybe because there's a nut job at the wheel. Sorry, personal take there. Personal take.
Space Force.
Process to begin to make the Space Force sixth branch of the armed forces. My opinions on the Space Force should be known by the previous video. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of time. You cut funding to NASA that would be the ones that would give us the technologies in order to actually establish a Space Force. So you're literally putting the cart in front of the horse, or, just cutting off your nose to spite the face. Spite your face, that old saying. Dumb. Confirmed more circuit court judges than any other administration. Yeah, you can do that when you can just ram things through because everything is Republican controlled. That's not hard. That's an accomplishment. You know what? I walked to the fridge and back today. Good for me, right? Yeah, that's an accomplishment. No, that's an accomplishment. Confirmed, yeah. Because again, not because Obama couldn't do it, your predecessor. It's not because he couldn't do it, it's because he literally couldn't do it. Because the courts and the House and the Senate, everything being Republican controlled, made sure that wasn't going to happen. Horrible Iran deal. Let's Google that. Oh, the nuclear deal. Okay. Yeah. We pay them money, they don't build weapons. Yeah, that deal. That was a good deal for us. Because they didn't build nuclear weapons. You don't want assholes with nuclear weapons. Unless you want to get blown up. Moved U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. Yeah. How is that an accomplishment? 10-foot pole. Not even. Protecting Americans from terrorists with a travel ban upheld by the Supreme Court. By not letting people into our country, less people can get into our country. Yep. Issues executive orders to keep open Guantanamo Bay. What's really actually interesting about this is we actually pay Cuba for that. We hand the money. And the best part is, when Fidel was alive, he had all of those checks that we paid rent for Guantanamo and just sat in his desk. He never cashed a single one. Not a single one. I don't know why, but he never cashed a single check from the United States for the rents of Guantanamo Bay. That is interesting. That's really interesting. And the other reason we keep that there is because that way we can do whatever the hell we want, and we are not subject to the laws that would normally apply in the United States. So yeah, that's our special little hellhole. We throw people that we perceive that we don't like for insert whatever reason, being the force of good and all. Concluded a historic U.S.-Mexico trade deal to replace NAFTA, and negotiations with Canada are underway as we speak. Oh, sorry, just boring. Reached a breakthrough agreement with the EU to increase U.S. exports. Okay. We're exporting more. which means we pay more in tariffs, or we don't pay more in tariffs, we pay more in sanctions. Basically, there's a tax we get hit with when we export more than we import, and we pay that. We pay that to the other country to literally take our stuff. So if we export more, we are paying more. Impose tariffs on foreign and steel, aluminum, protect national security. I don't know how. Everything's went up in price. Like, everything has went up in price. Steel and aluminum can be manufactured where it is mined cheaper and sent over here where it can be turned into product, because it would be cheaper to assemble the product here and ship it here than try to ship an assembled product. That's not protecting anybody. In fact, if you Google, there's lots of places that closed because they couldn't buy the materials cheap enough to keep their business sustainable. Which, if they can't compete, then that sucks, right? That's just what it is. I do not feel for those businesses. They should have adapted and made, ways around that. If that included raising the prices of their parts to their suppliers and, everything else, they truly cared to keep things going, they will find a way. That's the thing with business. It's supposed to find a way. And impose tariffs on China in response to China's forced technology transfer, intellectual property theft, and their chronicle abusive trade practices. The tariffs didn't do crap, but yes, China does not respect IP law at all. At all? At all? Never work with a Chinese company if you have things that you don't care about them stealing. Because the Chinese company will take that thing and they will make it, and they will do it cheaper, and they will win. Just what it is. You don't like it, don't do business with China. Period. That's the only way we win against China, is if we just don't do business with them. Then they have nothing to steal. Net exports are on track to increase by $59 billion this year. So we're exporting more than we're importing. We already said that, hey, we're exporting more oil, more gas, probably why. Improved vetting and screening for refugees and switched focus to overseas resettlement. I don't have a problem with people wanting to move into the melting pot of America that makes America great. I do not approve of shipping other people across the country because the land we stole, we rightfully stole, right? Imagine if the Native Americans were in power. Imagine this was coming from them. Do you want to be deported? Technically, if you're white, you're an invader. Melting pot of America. Let's keep it that way, right? That's the most American thing I can think of. Being able to get along with all races, creeds, and religions. That's what it means to be an American. Protect your fellow American. To bring in and invite other people from other walks of life who have been treated poorly. That's an American thing, in my opinion. That's the thing I was taught to be an American in school. That's what it means to be an American to me. Not throwing people away just because you're considered undesirables by some of them. No. And I'll get religious here. If that's not what Jesus wanted, that's not what the United States wants. You're anti-Christian and you're anti-United States if you want to throw away immigrants. That's just the way it is. We have begun building the wall. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Democrats want open borders, which equals massive crime. I am, what? Okay, number one, we're at the bottom, and you can see all those sources that they're totally referencing there, right? No, this is put out by the Trump administration, for the administration. Literally propaganda as its highest order, right? Which does not make me happy. It's coming from a government with propaganda. Alright? Open borders, which equals massive crime. No proof. No study that backs your claim. All of these are just claims. You have no proof of anything. You've said nothing within of any value or any weight. While there is a few things in there I know for a fact were good, most of these things are just opinion. Republicans want strong borders and no crime. Okay, that's an opinion. Democrats would open borders, which equals massive crime. That's a logical fallacy. You're saying Democrats, you're classifying an entire group as wanting open borders and crime. Same thing Republicans. Maybe they don't want strong borders. Maybe they want open borders. And no crime. Maybe Democrats want open borders and no crime. It's not healthy for our government of any sort, of any branch, to be casting these types of stereotypes out there. That is not healthy. That is not equal good discourse. Now, I'm all for having a conversation, as you may well know. I am fine having a conversation. I am fine having a difference of opinion and expressing our views. I do not like it when misinformation is shared based on a fact of someone else's perceived reality. Perceived reality is a very strong thing that the Trump administration constantly uses in order to push a narrative that they believe, or they want you to believe. And they've created this massive inequality between, like that we've never seen, right? We've got rich billionaires. It's it's insane. The rich get richer, the poor get poor. We need something to balance it out. The Trump administration's response to all of this is poor, to say the least. Again, we're not linking up to any studies. We are not having any types of backups. Just whatever the White House wants to publish, published. And ultimately, I think that's the problem. Ultimately, I think that is the issue here. And that, whether you support Trump or you don't support Trump, you cannot have a government organization throwing out opinions. Because opinions are dangerous. Opinions can lead to misinformation. Opinions can lead to the construing of facts. So a video that was recently released, I'm going to date the video a little bit, was the video from Breitbart that showed a bunch of people standing around in white lab coats telling us that there's a cure for the coronavirus, always has been. The media is lying to you. My favorite was the black doctor. She mentioned that a certain combination of drugs was going to save you, and that they were the combination. And if you actually do research on this person, she also believes that if you're having trouble sleeping, it's because demons are raping you in the night. Yep. So maybe we need to be more careful where we are taking our news from. Maybe we are more careful and need to be more careful before we hit that share button. Before we spread misinformation. Perhaps we should take 5 seconds to look at our sources before we share them. Because when you spread misinformation, it acts just like the coronavirus. Spreads like wildfire. Everyone gets it. And there's unlike the virus, there's no herd immunity. It's not a thing. When you spread misinformation, you are hurting the American way of life. When you spread misinformation without doing a modicum of research, you are hurting yourself, your community, and those that you should care about. So before you hit share, do research. Anyone can claim anything. I can claim to be the King of Scotland. I can claim that, but no one will recognize it because I'm not the King of Scotland. I can claim to have a cure for the coronavirus. Just that, it's a claim. I can claim anything. Until there is proof, evidence, studies, multiple sources agreeing, it's not true. It's a claim. Claims, false. False a lot of times. And to go back to insurance companies, you can put in any claim you want. Whether or not they pay out for it, that's up to them, isn't it? Whether or not they will accept your claim. Just like whether or not any governing body will accept a claim that I have on the moon. But you can't own the moon. There's international treaties against it. But yeah, I just really wanted to get some one-on-one FaceTime with everyone on the danger of spreading misinformation and how the Trump administration has really led the charge on the spreading of facts that cannot be verified at all. Clear back in 2018. So it has nothing to do with coronavirus. It has everything to do with buying into the cult of Trump. And if you buy into the cult of Trump, you're buying into a cult. Literally a cult. You follow their idealism. You repeat and spout their gospel. You are buying into a cult. You are buying into a cult. I don't know how many times I can say it. You are buying into a cult. Cults are bad. Okay? With that, I think we're in this video. Thanks for sticking through with it, the whole time. If you managed to stay here the whole time, congratulations, man. More power to you. Most people I think watch the first 10 minutes and go, and they're done. But yeah, thanks for watching the whole video. I appreciate it. And, stay tuned for more of my ranting opinions.